Beliau memberi juga peringatan, kita tidak boleh lengah karena kemungkinan terjadi pandemi bisa sewaktu-waktu. Di Afrika sekarang ada juga masih wabah yang disebut Mpox, kita tetap harus waspada.
We need to be prepared for the next pandemic. We're not prepared for COVID-19, so we need to do better. And we need to be committed to make sure all tools get out to everyone in the world. China's expertise and resources and manufacturing capacities will help us meet those needs.
What do you see as the biggest challenges in conservation?
The growing human population. Because if where we are, there's nothing else.
And do you have views about what should be done about that?
Can't you guess?
Or epidemics. I mean, I don't know what it will be. But in one way or another, we are so far, globally, we are so far above the population and the consumption levels which can be supported by this planet that I know in one way or another it's going to come back down. So I don't hope to avoid that. I hope that it can occur in a civil way.
We cannot hide away from human population growth because, you know, it underlies so many of the other problems. All these things we talk about wouldn't be a problem if there was the size of population that there was 500 years ago.
And then after that, we've got to stabilize the population. When I was born, there were
what's wrong with the population? I mean,
with too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff. But if there were less people, they'd be using less stuff.
Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
You brought up some issues that others are reluctant to bring up.
Always. All the religious groups are against me because I'm talking about population. They want more souls, I want less on the planet.
Of reducing population growth, that's this big benefit. The key thing you can do to reduce population growth is actually improve health.
In the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations.
I would like to reduce the number of people on the planet because there's too many of us.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population,
Wait. What the?
More of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that. We're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein.
What the?
So in the next 5 to 10 years, for the next pandemic, we'll solve all those problems.
you say the next pandemic, there will be another pandemic.
Absolutely. We don't know when.
History teaches us that the next pandemic is a matter of when, not if.
We know what's next. We're going to have another major coronavirus pandemic before the end of this decade, before 2030.
If we really want to prevent the next pandemic, and there will be one, there will absolutely be an outbreak of another pandemic. It may be next year.
We need more money to plan for the second pandemic. There's going to be another pandemic.
So in the next 5 to 10 years, for the next pandemic, we'll solve all those problems.
You say the next pandemic, there will be another pandemic.
Absolutely. We don't know when. The risk per year, 2%, 3%.
The next pandemic. And there will be one. There will absolutely be an outbreak of another pandemic.
We definitively will have to face other surprises, black swans as they are called, maybe different kinds of viruses.
But also there will be a surprise outbreak.
Most of the work we're going to do to be ready for pandemic 2, I call this pandemic 1.
There will be certainly what we call the black swans, the unpleasant surprises which will come in our way.
The negative impact of population growth on all of our planetary ecosystems is becoming appallingly evident. The rapid growing exploitation of the world's supply of energy and water is a matter of deep concern, and the toxic byproducts of widespread industrialization have increased atmospheric pollution to dangerous levels. Unless nations will agree to work together to tackle these cross-border challenges posed by population growth, overconsumption of resources, and environmental degradation, the prospects for a decent life on our planet will be threatened. The recent UN meeting in Cairo is appropriately focused on one of these key issues, population growth. But the controversies which have erupted at the conference illustrate the problem of coming to grips with issues that are deeply divisive and which have a profound moral dimension. The United Nations can and should play an essential role in helping the world find a satisfactory way of stabilizing world population and stimulating economic development in a manner that is sensitive to religious and moral considerations. Economic growth is, of course, an inevitable corollary of a growing population and is essential to improved standards of living. But without careful coordination, unrestrained economic growth poses further threats to our environment. This was a major subject of discussion at the conference in Rio de Janeiro on the environment 2 years ago. The focus then was on sustainable growth and global development. It was pointed out at the conference that growth is most efficiently managed by the private sector, but regulation of the process by national governments and international bodies is also needed. And once again, the United Nations should certainly be among the catalysts and coordinators of this process.
See some clouds, look at this. So I flip this to L2, and then I bring this to 1, and fire. Now look at that. Fire. Fire.
The Air Force is on record as saying, quote, they want to control the weather by 2025, and we are not talking about just seeding the clouds for rain. Of April this year, there are more than 150 different weather modification programs around the world. Since about 2000, the Department of Defense and the Department of Energy have been spraying the entire United States sky with a toxic brew of chemicals and other biologic agents. Military and some commercial jets have been fitted with huge barrels of at least 49 different kinds of documented chemical poisons. Among other documented ingredients in this toxic man-made clouds are pathogenic molds, fungi, weaponized viruses, and made in some places like the secret site at Fort Detrick, Maryland, which is supposed to be a cancer site.
Memasuki tahun 2025, pemerintah menggelar program pemeriksaan kesehatan atau medical check-up gratis untuk masyarakat yang berulang tahun. Dana sebesar 3,2 triliun rupiah sudah disiapkan dari anggaran pendapatan dan belanja negara 2025 untuk mendukung program tersebut.
Contohnya banyak. Jadi ketahanan nasional di bidang kesehatan itu kan ibaratnya begini. Kalau saya harus menggambarkan agak ekstrim ya. Indonesia ini terlalu terbuka. Ya. Kita punya pantai yang begitu luas, yang di situ bisa nempel militer asing dan sebagainya seperti itu. Seringkali mengadakan pengobatan massal dan sebagainya. Padahal dalam proses itu ternyata mereka mengambil sampel kita seperti itu, atau mengambil sampel penyakit yang ada dalam lingkungan wilayah kita seperti ini. Sedangkan di negara-negara lain, ini saya contoh yang kemarin terakhir ada di Turki mendapatkan bencana seperti itu. Terlepas mereka sedang bersusah payah, mereka terbatas tenaganya, tapi tenaga kesehatan dari luar itu tidak mendapatkan kesempatan untuk melakukan pertolongan yang bisa menimbulkan keluarnya darah, keluarnya barang dari tubuh mereka, sehingga itu menjadi fokus mereka bahwa kita hanya yang dari luar ini hanya untuk evakuasi saja.
Dia punya data orang Indonesia nih, punya data orang Indonesia yang hidup di tropis, tipikal orangnya seperti ini, darah segala macam. Mungkin Pak Dokter lebih paham. Itu dia bisa kondisikan nanti tipikal penyakitnya seperti apa, pengobatannya seperti apa.
Termasuk masukin virus-virus mungkin bisa kali ya.
Termasuk untuk sebaliknya, Bang. Nah, ini kan ada apa namanya ilmu baru ya, Dok ya, dalam beberapa tahun terakhir ada bioinformatics. Bioinformatics itu memang keilmuan di bidang biologi tapi yang dikombinasikan dengan di bidang IT. Ya, dari sana itu akan lebih mudah proses analisisnya, Bang.
Certificate acknowledged by WHO, if you have been vaccinated or tested properly, then you can move on. So for the next pandemic, instead of stopping the movement of the people 100%, which clog the economy globally, you can still provide some movement of the people. Indonesia has achieved, G20 country has agreed to have this digital certificate using WHO standard, and we will submit into the next World Health Assembly in Geneva accreditation to international health regulation. So hopefully for the next pandemic, we can still see some movement of the people, some movement of the goods, and movement of the economy.
Biological warfare. This phenomenon has never existed in human history. It's the first time it's taking place. The virus is present. This COVID-19 virus, or whatever other names they call, it's not from nature, and this has come from the Zionist laboratory as a biological weapon. That those who are behind this virus, and this virus was created to try to facilitate Pax Judaica, replace Pax Americana, that the end game is located in the Holy Land, because that's the battleground. What we have with us today, everything that comes from the World Health Organization, social distancing, face masks, lockdowns, go to masjid, all of this. Are you capable of thinking instead of slavishly, like sheep and cattle, following the World Health Organization? Because our people no longer think. Yes, what a pathetic state. Will you not think? Well, I'm telling you from now, you should not be brainwashed. Like sheep and cattle, just continue part and parcel of the brainwashing. Well, let me tell you, I don't see amongst the Muslims, I don't hear any voices challenging a government's authority. But yes, I see a Christian minister doing that. Yes, a Christian minister is doing that, but we are silent. If you think
think you are a Christian politician, and you know very well what is happening is nothing but deliberate evil action by the secret societies. Yet you are going ahead with it, and you are endorsing it, and you are implementing it, and you are forcing it. You are bringing more force, police force, army, to make sure that these areas adhere to the lockdowns. Then you are a traitor, that you are a true Christian if you resign from that position. So what, you're a prime minister? So what, you're a president? So what, you're a king? So what, you're a church leader? Stop enslaving people. Enough lockdowns, this is slavery. And enough so-called corona. And enough lies. Is there anyone among you to be a man to stand up and speak the truth, even if it takes them to be kicked out? Is there? Are you all cowards? Has money blinded you? Shame on such generation, shame. Stop forcing people to take vaccination. You will destroy yourself by yourself. Enough stupidity. Enough.
There's much truth in that word. Well, I'm telling you from now, whose hearts are still attached to the Quran, it's time for you to open your eyes. Wage a mighty jihad against the forces of evil, the forces of falsehood, the rivals to the truth in the world. Wage a mighty jihad against them using the Quran as your weapon. The oppressors, have you forgotten? And guess what's the fate of Gog and Magog? Let me tell you, those who are preparing poison for us to drink, the one they drink their own poison. Let me speak slowly so it'll sink in. But don't you know that Allah can also do it? Do you know what's going to happen then? Let me tell you. And when Nabi Isa alayhi salam returns, when Jesus the son of Mary returns, and you attack him, and he goes up a mountain in Jerusalem, he will pray to the Lord God, and the Lord God will send a virus. And the virus will attack you at the back of your neck, at the top of the spine. And when you are attacked by this virus, you won't be sneezing, you won't get fever, you won't have cough. No, the last few hours of your life will be lived imprisoned in your own body. You will be paralyzed, totally paralyzed. But perhaps you can still move your eyes. Do you know what's going to happen then? And then by next morning you're dead. And when you're dead, your body will begin to decompose and smell. That's the fate that's waiting you. Those who are preparing poison for us to drink, the one they drink their own poison. You're dead. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Nobody will be safe if not everybody is vaccinated.
Are you vaccinated, if I
Yes.
may ask?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very pro-vaccination. Yeah. I believe the science is unequivocal.
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants. Just think of sensors planted into our brains.
Basically implanted in your skull. So But it would be flush with your skull. So you basically take out a chunk of skull, put the Neuralink device in there. You put the electrode, you'd insert the electrode threads very carefully into the brain.
It doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you if you take a genetic editing.
It's a fusion of the physical, the digital, and the biological world. That's really the essence of the fourth industrial revolution.
A merger with biological intelligence and machine intelligence.
An effort for man to merge with machine in a healthy way.
Yes.
To beat machines, you basically have to merge with machines.
Most likely, yeah.
It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law.
One world government under the United Nations.
Are you coming to the tree? They strung up a man, they say we're running free. Strange things that happened here, stranger would it be? We met at midnight in the hanging tree. Are you coming to the tree? The death and call, our voice unto thee. Strange things that happened here, stranger would it be? We met at midnight in the hanging
Most of the work we're going to do to be ready for pandemic 2, I call this pandemic 1. Most of the work we'll do to be ready for that are also the things we need to do to minimize the threat of bioterrorism.
Jangan salahkan pemerintah, jangan salahkan pejabat bank, jangan salahkan ekonom. Semua hanya ikut sistem. Mau namanya orde baru atau reformasi, jika masih ikut sistem elit global, ya sama saja. Jadi, jika ada orang yang mengajak debat soal bentuk bumi, tanyakan kembali, apakah mereka percaya pada sistem yang diterapkan oleh NASA, IMF, PBB, dan lain-lain? Jika mereka percaya pada media elit global, stop perdebatan. Tak ada gunanya. Orang-orang seperti itu tak akan bikin perubahan. Perubahan bukan datang dari mayoritas yang followers, melainkan dari kelompok kecil yang punya kemauan. Rothschild mampu menjatuhkan kerajaan Prancis yang sudah berumur 1000 tahun lebih. Bukan dengan cara berdebat dengan 99% penduduk tentang apa bentuk negara yang paling baik, melainkan fokus pada kelompok kecil Jacobin. Begitu harus berbalik, rakyat yang 99% itu pada ngikut semua. Dan Rothschild dapat konsesi Bank Sentral Prancis tahun 1800.
Non mais qu'est-ce tu t'embêtes? Tu te prends la tête, ce gars-là n'est pas net. Il est fauché me to the tree. They strung up a man. They say we were free. Strange things that happened here. Stranger would it be? We met and lived.